Yo, what's going on, everybody? Steve and Randy here from the Reinvestors. We thought we'd just take a quick second, hop on, and share a little bit about what's going on with the coronavirus, the COVID-19, and just share some of our insights onto what we're seeing now through the research that we're doing, the networks we're a part of, and some of the stuff that you can take home with it. So I figured I'd start by just asking Steve, like, dude, what is going on with the virus, and what do we need to know right now?
Man, a lot's happened over the last couple of days, obviously over the last couple of months. Originally started over in China. It's now in North America. It's now in 60% of the world's countries. And so now the big question for you and I is, how does this affect our day-to-day? How does it affect our local economies? How does it affect our national economy? With travel being canceled in a lot of different countries, et cetera. How does that all play out, and what's the ripple effects long-term, short-term? Is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time to buy? All those kind of questions. I think you and I are going to jump into some of those topics right here, right now. So where do you want to start, dude?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things to starting with is just like, this isn't a political conversation. The stuff that we're going to chat about today, no politics involved. I think we're very lucky. We're part of a business mastermind where we've been able to dissect a lot of what's going on the business side of it, just based purely on numbers and facts. There's a lot of amazing videos out there. We've shared a lot of them. If you want them, hit us up. We're happy to share them with you. Just a lot of facts out there about what the coronavirus is doing, how it's spreading, and the awareness that we actually need to have versus the fear that the media is putting out there. There's a lot of people that say, oh, don't listen to the media. This is all just blown out of proportion. It's so stupid. It's just the flu. But in reality, there's a little bit more to it than just that. So a lot of people are freaking and panicking out right now. And I think one of the biggest things for us is just actually learning the stats, learning the numbers, and not letting politics get involved in the decisions that we're making based on having to shut down our meetup and not go down to California and making these decisions because we don't live in fear. You and I are very not at risk right now, but we don't want to be the guys that source it and pass it on to other people. We both have, older family members. We both have friends with kids. We have a lot of stuff going on in our lives. And if we were to go anywhere or be around people, sitting in a 14-day quarantine does not seem fun to me.
No, not at all. I was at Thrifty Foods. I went to the grocery store because my fiance was starting to get a little bit, bugged out. And the parking lots were absolute madness. And then when I started walking around town, because I walk pretty much everywhere, you can kind of see a little bit of stress on people's faces. But you have some people saying that, yeah, this is nothing to worry about because it's just a flu. But then you also have the opposite side of things, of people saying, oh my God, I'm so glad that I bought an AK-47 last year and I decked out my truck and like bulletproof windows and all that kind of stuff and just prepping for the end of the world. And I think we're closer to the influenza side of things. I don't think this is anything to panic about, especially for people in yours and my like age demographics, and because we're both healthy people. If you are on the older side of things, or if for whatever reason you're watching this and you're 1 year old, good for you for getting involved in real estate early. But those are the people that really need to, I guess, be on high alert. And you mentioned this a second ago, but we are canceling our live in-person meetup. But what we're going to do instead of that is we're going to transition that into an online webinar. So I see it as a bit of a blessing in disguise, where previously in person we are restricted to 100 people in a room because all the room holds. And now we can say, hey, everybody in Canada, hop onto this link and learn more about how this is affecting our economy and take advantage of the knowledge that our guest speakers are going to bring, et cetera, et cetera. So it's forced people like you and I to get creative, and it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks play out in markets like here in Victoria.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and really excited to take that meetup online and just share it with more people and bring more awareness to it. We'll get a little bit more into that as we go through this. A lot of the topics we're talking about are related to that. So guys, keep it simple. Wash your hands, drink lots of water, eat a lot of oranges, don't go into big group settings, don't go on your vacation, sit at home, enjoy it, relax a little bit, read a book, take this time to get educated, read a book, hit up YouTube, listen to some audibles, just relax. You don't need to spread the virus any worse than it is. And you don't need to panic and go run and buy 50 rolls of toilet paper. Just live life at home as normal, but just don't be stupid about it, and just be aware that this is something that is happening in the world, but we can all get through it and we're going to be fine. Just expect things to just kind of go on hiatus for a few weeks, and just don't make the problem worse. And don't be one of those guys that's out there trying to blame the media and say this is all a big hoax and stuff. Just sit back, relax, let it all unfold, and follow the simple protocols that are in place that the government's putting out for us. So one of the biggest things that we just saw today, it's March 13th today, was that the Canadian government is just dropping interest rates again. So pretty exciting as investors. Something that we can see. They're really trying to stimulate the economy and help out where they can. Going to be really interesting for people that are on variable mortgages that are going to start seeing some drop in their monthly payments or get that extra principal pay down on their mortgage. So it's a really cool time right now for investors that have investment properties that are on variable mortgages, or people that are looking to get, go buy properties. You're just buying a property now, Steve, and I think your rates are dropping every time before you haven't even closed yet, and you're seeing stuff drop.
So we started our mortgage process about a month ago or so, and 3 to 4 weeks ago, our mortgage per specialist was saying that our rate's going to be about like the 2.78, 2.8 kind of area. And then last week when we signed our paperwork, we got it at 2.58. On Monday, we got a message from them saying it's dropped again and it's 2.38. And today, with even further cuts, I'm assuming we're going to get another message next week before we take keys, and it's actually going to be 2.18 or something like that. So 2.1% is like freaking free money. I'm happy.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you can go variable now and ride this out for as long as it keeps going down, and then just lock in a 5-year once things start coming back up. So a lot of people should be trying to take advantage of this time right now where interest rates are low. And same things with if you're getting HELOCs or you're trying to get unsecured line of credit. I saw something the other day, so they're getting like a 5%, like 5.5% unsecured line of credit. That's incredible. Like, why wouldn't everyone be taking advantage of this time right now? It sucks. I understand there's a lot of bad things that are happening in the world. People are dying, a lot of fear out there. But we as investors have to look at every opportunity that comes with it. We can't live in fear 24/7. We have to look at opportunity, like we're doing with our meetups, going from in-person to online this month and getting the opportunity to get in front of more people. If you're in the mortgage space, can you get more, or can you get a better interest rate, or can you get a better line of credit, or what are things that you can do to start increasing your cash flow or get better cash flow on a property? If you can lock in for 5 years at 2.1% versus 2.9%, that's just more cash in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great time to be an investor, in my opinion. And we've been telling a lot of people for the last year and a half even, to start thinking about getting liquid. And you and I, we've liquidated some of our portfolios. And if our economy does at least cool off at the very least, it puts people like you and I who are a little bit more liquid in a stronger position, because now we can go make a little bit more aggressive offers and get a little bit more creative. And it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Speaking of the economy, like you and I went for a nice hour and a half walk this morning, basically just talked the entire time about industries that are going to see effect in this.
Yeah.
We're not talking today. We're talking for the next year. Like what is going to happen? And one of the big topics was the cruise lines. And in Victoria, where we live, huge tourist industry. Cruise lines just get postponed for minimum 60 days. And then now Canada, up until July 1st, there would be no docking on Canadian ports. That's going to make
for cruise ships that are 500 people or more.
Yeah, for a cruise that are 500 or more. That's huge.
Yeah.
That can be a massive impact in a lot of communities on the coast where the cruise ships stop and go in and out. But we might not see that until, July, August type things where, maybe they can get through these next few months as their season ramps up, but their season peaks out usually, May, June, July, August. And as we don't see those numbers come in, that's going to take a big hurt in that economy.
Yeah, I used to work in advertising, working a lot with the Victoria businesses, and a lot of them, especially like mom and pop shops, they're the ones that are going to be hit the hardest. A lot of them depend on just like the tourist industry that we have here, because that's when you survive through the off seasons, and then you thrive in the summer, and you make that thriving, spread across the rest of the year so that you don't go under. But I think people in retail it's really going to hurt. Places like just local bars, local restaurants, that's going to hurt. But at the same time, like one thing that I want to announce to everybody watching this is don't let the fear of the virus stop you from shopping local. People who do own local businesses, whether it's Big Wheel Burger or your favorite restaurant down the road or whatever. No, we didn't get any money for saying Big Wheel, but you mentioned it to me earlier. They depend on our dollars, and our dollars being spent in our economy help move our economy forward. So those are a couple of things that are going to be heard. You mentioned to me yesterday or something that one of our mutual friends who's in contracting is getting phone calls saying that their clients, homeowners, are delaying projects because they don't want people in their home. That's another thing that might actually be in a advantageous spot for you and I as investors. Now we can go back to trades and say, hey, I know that your business is shrinking right now. Is there something we could do here?
Yeah, I was coming from a trades background. It's going to take a bigger hit than most people see. And again, it might, depending on how fast we can control it. Obviously, we're a little bit ahead of the curve right now. But if we watch what happened in places like China and Italy and what's happening down in Washington right now, where it just exponentially grows fast in a week or two, if we see something like that here, if we can't control it fast enough, you'll see big construction sites shut down. Well, what are all those trades guys going to do? Obviously, they're putting some stuff in place for EI. Not everyone can afford to take a cut in their wages. When they go on EI, not everyone can afford that kind of stuff. Or people might be looking for opportunity for taking some side work on or things like that. So it's going to be interesting to watch what unfolds in the next few weeks. But I think construction is going to be something that's so under the radar that people don't even think about. But that's a lot of your people that own mortgages that are living paycheck to paycheck-ish are guys in the construction industry. And if all of a sudden you get laid off for a month and a half, maybe we don't know how long, that impact might trickle down through their families, through everything, right? They're not going to be going out and spending money on movies. They're not going to be going out and doing things that they normally would. They're all going to be worried about just how they can pay their mortgage and what if they can't, right? Are we going to start to see some liquidity come out in that space coming from there? And like you said, bars and industries. Another thing, all the schools getting shut down. As we see schools start to get shut down, parents are going to have to take time off to be home with their kids if they can't work from home. That's another huge thing, that just a lot of factors right now that are leaving us on edge with what is going to happen and how far does this go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're not saying this to scare anybody, and we're not scared ourselves. It's just putting information out there to start the conversation and to get you thinking about, some effects that might come into place. And then it's yours and my, I guess, arena to be able to flip the script and to say like, yes, this is a down period. People might be getting hurt in the sense of economic wise. How can we as investors and how can we as the reinvestors continue to educate, our community on how to flip the script and make it actually not necessarily a benefit, but not such hard of a loss, if that makes sense. And I do want to give a huge shout out to anybody in the healthcare industry right now. You and I both have a lot of friends who are nurses. We have friends who are doctors and who manage clinics and surgeons, etc. Those people are going to be exposed the most. And so if you have friends or family in that area, I would just encourage you to reach out to them and just offer your support, whether that's, helping make dinners so that they can get more time to rest. Sleep is going to be essential for a lot of us to stay healthy. Or even if it's just words of encouragement, whatever you're comfortable with, I would offer that, because they're going to be going through, we're already short-staffed in terms of nurses and healthcare people. And this being, making people work overtime and extra time isn't going to help the situation. So reach out to them and just give them the support that you can.
Got two quick topics that we want to cover just to bring some awareness to them. What does this mean for the real estate market that we're in right now? So obviously we haven't seen a direct hit yet, but was talking to our friend who's down in Seattle, where everything's basically in lockdown now, and he's panicking. He's flipping some houses down there, and open houses are becoming not a thing. People don't really want to go through walking through them. They're trying to do things virtual. They're trying to pivot and work in the space they have. But he's in not panic mode, but he's starting to worry, like, people just aren't, there's not the traffic out there. There's not the interest. When people are worried about, just trying to stay alive, they're not worried about where they can move or what they can do. So I think we're going to see a lot less people at open houses, maybe just a little bit of a slowdown on the movement of houses. right? People that were kind of on the fence that were like, if I find a house I want to buy, I'll move, are now just going to sit back and say, hey, I'm going to wait till this whole thing is kind of taken care of. Average people, as investors, we should be thinking the opposite. Like, wow, free money right now with the interest rates the way they are and less competition. Let's go buy something and try and make something work.
And on that note too, there's a thing that every single one of us have the option for, and it's video chat. So all you've got to do is, if you don't want to go out and you want to stay locked down in your house, get your realtor out there, get connected with the homeowner, and just get a virtual tour from FaceTime. Like, that's a great way to look at 10 properties a week still, and not, expose yourself to any more risk.
Yeah, so we're not panicking about the market. We're pretty, again, in our market where we are, we're going to be hopefully fairly stable in the sense of trying to ride this out. We might see obviously a bit of a correction come in, but not something that we don't think is going to be like an absolute downturn, we hope. Again, we're just speculating on a lot of stuff right now and just trying to bring some awareness to ideas that could be out there and things to think about while we're doing this, of what are some outcomes that this virus could cause. And a lot of that could just be a slowdown in the purchasing of properties, especially in peak time. This is peak time to buy right now and peak time to sell, and just unfortunate timing for that.
Yeah, I definitely see the economy, I guess the market itself slowing down, like you said. I don't see it being that, the big one that a lot of people have talked about for the last couple of years in comparison to like 2007, 8, 9. But it's going to be something that's temporary, right? Especially here on Vancouver Island and the West Coast, and then like major markets out east as well. But the demand for housing is so extraordinarily high that all that this could cause is just the push of the pause button. As soon as it's in our rearview mirror, it's back to action. And in this bit of a lull, it's a perfect time for you and I as investors to do what we can do to get a step ahead. And use that to our advantage if we can. And less open houses, less movement. But we on the island and we have a development coming up on Salt Spring. We're a little bit more isolated than the mainland, and we have a smaller population, which usually means smaller risks. So I'm pretty confident that we'll get through this pretty unscathed.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So and again, we can only predict so far, and we're just hoping that things don't go worse than that, for sure.
And I think we're doing the right thing. Like, we saw, like, watching what happened in China, it was an extreme growth rate until they went on lockdown. And as soon as they went on lockdown, that growth rate plateaued and did not accelerate any further. And so with Trump, Trudeau, and I don't know if our BC dude has done anything or not, but with a bit of lockdown with travel and stuff that's going on now, that's a good thing. People are saying it's stupid. I think it's a good thing. It's restricting the acceleration of this thing getting any worse.
It literally could save our economy. Like, you look at Italy, and it is a mess right now, and it's going to be a long time to recover from that. So I'm totally okay staying inside for a few days to do my part to not allow it to get that bad where we are. So and to be ahead of the curve, because I don't want this to get to that point where it literally just destroys our economy. So the last thing we're going to talk about was just being a landlord right now. It's an interesting time with a lot of people possibly getting laid off, possibly having to go home, work from home, things like that. So what we're doing as landlords, as we always do, is trying to be proactive. Steve and I were just chatting about ways how we can get ahead of our tenants and do these things. You read an article today that was, some tenants saying, landlords stop being greedy and give us a break of sorts in this time. And I don't think as landlords we have to give a break at this point, right? It's something we're all going to have to deal with. I don't know how to say this like the proper way, but like it's like, it's not my job to make sure that you pay the rent, right? I'm still trying to survive. If you don't pay rent, I don't pay the mortgage, you have nowhere to live. So it's kind of a vicious circle. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to write a letter to all of our tenants, an email, and say, hey, just checking in on you guys. How are y'all doing? If you do end up getting infectious or you do test positive for the coronavirus, please let us know so we can let other people in the building know. We understand that, there is some concerns around it. Here's the information to claim EI or some information around that. If that happens, if by chance you get laid off or there's something that's going on. So again, being proactive, trying to put some information in front of them so that they can be proactive themselves, so that they're not sitting at home going, wow, I can't pay rent this month. They're actually getting on board and trying to get the support or the EI they need to be able to pay rent this month. So putting that letter in front of them, letting them know we support them. And if they need anything, to reach out to us. Again, we want to be there to support them and help them. It's a time when we all need to come together. And I think that's something that we're going to see a little bit more of, as landlords really trying to support tenants in this. But we, at this point, are not giving our tenants free rent because we are not getting free mortgage payments.
Yeah. And until Trudeau gives us a mortgage break, like they have done that in some other countries around the world, that's a great incentive that we would love to pass on to our tenants. But the main point of this is that we're initiating and opening up a dialogue with our tenants, and we have a lot of constant contact with our tenants. All of our tenants are freaking wonderful, and we always pride ourselves on being extraordinary landlords, and a part of that is open communication. And the open communication on this level is especially important because if they do lose their job or if they do get infected with coronavirus, then the communication around this topic has already been opened up, and we initiated that, so it relieves a lot of the pressure on their end, and then they can reach out to us, and then we can work. Our landlording, and they refer other people when they move, saying like, hey, my friend needs a place, can they come apply, and that kind of stuff. So just being open and honest around it all is just a huge advantage for you versus 95% of the other landlords out there.
Totally. And the last thing here is the short-term Airbnb that everybody has been switching to, that everybody's been moving to and raving about, saying is the best investment you can make right now. Steve,
I never said that.
A lot of people are, though. A lot of people are saying it's the new craze, right? It's the new thing. What happens now? A lot of people aren't traveling. I was just talking to a guy who said this time last year, he was booked up. I think it was like 95% for March. He was like stocked up. This year he has 5. He only has 5 in for March. So that's a pretty big hit when you're predicting your financials to be a different way and they don't come. So I'm very interested to see what happens in this market right now with the Airbnb short-term rentals, with travel being suspended, nobody wanting to go out, probably not wanting to stay in somebody else's units. Geez, what is that going to look like? And what are people not prepared for, where long-term rentals they would be prepared for?
Yeah, I got a few comments on that. One is, if you do currently own a hotel room, basically an Airbnb unit, is you should go get an ozone cleaner or whatever it's called, the ozone purifier or something like that. Basically what it is a little doohickey, and it runs for an hour and like basically sterilizes everything. And then after that hour, it basically just turns into oxygen. And so then everything is sterilized, and all surfaces and stuff you can touch and lick or whatever. And so you can basically like market it as a coronavirus free zone kind of thing. 2 is, I think a lot of people are going to get burned in the Airbnb business, especially towns like Victoria, where not necessarily we rely on Airbnb, but it's been a huge generator for the last few years. And I just bought one in the Janion building, and we have Janion owners are a part of a Facebook group, and a couple people don't have similar situations as your friend there that you're referencing. And so come 4 months down the road, if this thing is still going on, I'm going to be messaging every Airbnb owner I know and saying, hey, do you want to sell yet? And because I know like this isn't going to last forever. I can't imagine another COVID happening year after year. So if I can buy another Airbnb unit for 75 cents on the dollar, I'm gonna.
Totally. I think it's going to be interesting to see how people face the adversity of it. Do you go to a long-term rental for the next short being? Do you try and lock in somebody a little bit longer term? Seeing how people pivot in this industry is going to be one of the funnest things. Yeah, I just love seeing people that can thrive in a time where a lot of people are panicking.
I have been really focused on this one phrase this last couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and it is so relevant to what you just said. It's innovate or die.
Whoa.
And we as business owners really need to, respect that. And you always have to be kind of like learning and growing. And if you just stay stagnant, you get boring and then people don't want you anymore. So this is like Airbnb is going to be one of those things now where you've got to innovate or die. And so maybe it's just like way better marketing. Maybe it's price adjustments. Maybe it's just like asking everybody to share your property. If it is something that you want to consider just doing like a longer term or month-to-month thing, reach out to other people and post it on Facebook groups, do what you can to fill that as a vacancy. And, even if it's $1,000 for a month or $1,800 for a month versus what your typical $5,000 or so would be, it's a whole lot better than zero. And so protect yourself, have a safety net. Rebecca and I are establishing one, come April or May or something. And, we have a dedicated fund that's basically just a drip fund in a sense. So if we don't have, because it's our first go at Airbnb, if we don't have enough income, then there's a pool there that I can draw from. So we're not losing anything or spending money on Visa cards or whatever. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Super interesting. So last thing I just wanted to just let everyone know is that we are moving our meetup online. Steve and I were talking about pivoting when things get tough. One of the hardest decisions we've had to make is to cancel our monthly meetup, which has been running for almost 4 years now straight.
This is actually our 4-year anniversary this month.
Yeah, so we haven't missed one. We take the summers off. We take 2 months off in the summer, but we haven't missed one. This is the first one we've had to miss, so it sucks. And we really were upset about it and had to make some tough calls. But we had a good meeting with some of our business mentors, and they said, cool, take this opportunity to pivot and grow. And so something Steve and I have always talked about is, doing more webinars online. And so we're taking this opportunity to pivot and grow. So for those that normally come to our meetups or have not been to one of our meetups because you can't make that night or you don't live in our town, it's going to be an incredible opportunity to get to see Kyle, who's going to be speaking on mortgages, talking about what the virus has affected, the interest rate changes, how you can take advantage of it. It's going to be awesome listening to Kyle talk about that. And
yeah, just so if anybody doesn't know, Kyle Green runs the Green Mortgage team based out of Vancouver, and he's a top 3 broker in Canada when it comes to real estate investors.
And then we're also going to be having Rochelle come in and speak about just executive rentals and what's happening in that market right now and what you can do once we're past COVID-19, how you can start taking advantage of that and what it can do for your portfolio. Similar to Airbnb, but just a little bit more longer term transition rates. She brings in a lot of executives and higher level people that are coming into town for a few months or people that are going to be renting it out for the year, but just having different employees go in and out. So
yeah, I actually spoke with her today and we were talking about Airbnb versus corporate rental, her specialty, and she's actually hasn't really seen much of a hit at all. So her model might be more robust than the Airbnb model, maybe even the long-term rental model. The argument could be made. And yeah, she's going to blow some minds on how to get it set up, how to manage it, how to do the right type of marketing, how to do the targeting, how to design it, all that kind of stuff. So Premier Suites is a franchise across Canada, and they're very well known. She's been the owner and operator here for, I can't remember if it was like 14 or 15 or first 20 years, but a long time. And yeah, we're really excited to move this to an online piece. And that just gave me an idea too. Like if you have a vacancy coming up for a long-term rental, the traditional way is like go to an open house. Well, you probably aren't going to get anybody showing up at that open house. This right here is a great way to do it. And we've done this in the past, record it, do a walkthrough, send that to people. And if people are interested in that walkthrough, then get them to contact you and do like a one-on-one showing or do a Facebook Live or something, not Facebook Live, a FaceTime Live or something and walk through it together that way. And that way, you can still show it to your potential tenants and avoid yourself a vacancy.
Totally. So somewhere around this video, we'll have a link to our Eventbrite. We still are donating 100% of all the profit that comes in to Kidsport Victoria. We'll never change from that. So hopefully we can actually make a bigger donation this month by going online and getting more people involved. It's a cool idea that Steve and I were playing with over the past few days of this actually is a great opportunity for us to bring in more revenue for Kidsport Victoria by doing this. So click on that link and just buy your ticket, and then we'll be sending out the link to the webinar on the day of. So if that's something you're interested in, would love to. If you have any questions about this, hit Steve and I up. We live in this space. We've done, over the past 72 hours, just done a ton of research over what the virus means, how it's going to affect us, and what we can do going forward to be preventative about it, and trying to make our businesses as recession proof as possible and being able to pivot. So we love brainstorming, love chatting. If we can help you in any way, please send us a message or a DM and hit us up. Anything else, Steve?
No, guys, just do what you can to stay healthy. That's the main thing, is stay healthy, avoid, going to old folks homes or preschools or something like that. Stay in your small groups, stay clean. I just stocked up on some vitamin C. And I'm just gonna do whatever I can to make sure that if I do get it, then I'm not passing it along, and hopefully I don't. And one of those things is just more of this type of interaction. So a lot of my meetings are now going online versus in person. And I encourage you guys to do the same. And like Randy was just saying, it's our mission statement is that we want to financially educate 1 million people and inspire them to invest in real estate so you can live a more fulfilled life. And so this isn't just something that we do on a day-to-day. This is something that we actually immerse ourselves in, and it's our passion and we love it. A friend of mine called me today asking, what should I do? And I was like, dude, why didn't you call me earlier? Because he's feeling guilty about bugging me. And I'm like, no, man, this isn't bugging me. I love having these conversations. So bug me more, dude. I want to have more of these types of conversations. So if you have any types of questions, either hop on to our Facebook channel, send us an email. It's just info@thereinvestors.ca, DM us, whatever. We're at your disposal. Just wanting to continue to educate people on real estate investing and the advantages that come along with it, and success and wealth and freedom that can come from it. And yeah, we absolutely love it. So hopefully you guys all tune in for the awesome webinar with Kyle Green and Rochelle Keeley from Green Mortgage Team and Premier Suites. We're going to do a little bit deeper dive on the coronavirus as well, and answer some questions that come up over the next couple of days. But the webinar itself is Tuesday night, March 17th, 6 o'clock, and it'll just go until it stops, I think. And you'll be answering everybody's questions. Speakers will hang out and do what they do best. And yeah, it's going to be a great time, and looking forward to hopefully, raising more money for Kidsport.
Also, guys, if you have any questions, hit us up.